to 6-7 inch and see how it does. Here's a piece here with a big knot and everything in the middle of it. Now this will probably test it. Now, I'm just looking up here before we start. I can see my cows up on the top of the hill there. It's ferocious cold at the moment, although it might look lovely with the blue skies and the sun shining, which is nice. There's no heat from that sun. The wind would just strip you alive. But anyway, we're going to keep warm because, well, we're definitely going to keep warm by doing it and by what comes out of it. Bit ironic. But we're back here with this machine and we're going to actually run quite a lot of stuff through it here today. I said before when we got the use of this machine that we're going to wait until we got some of the trees that were down from the storm through home in lengths. Well, I was originally going to do them in the field, but I thought it might make more sense to do them here, and that way I can draw them down to the house then when they're chopped up much easier. So yeah, we have a nice pile of stuff here of all shapes and sizes, everything from 6 inch right down to light stuff at 2-3 inch, and we have stuff there that might even be bigger, which could be closer to 6-7 inch. Yeah, so we're going to run all that stuff through it and see how it does. So this was sent to us back well before Christmas. A company called Remit CNC contacted us well over a year ago and asked us if we'd be interested in testing one of these wood processing machines on the farm. They wanted to actually get our feedback from an Irish point of view because every country has different varieties of trees. Ireland has a lot of ash, sycamore, chestnut and so on. We also wanted to get our feedback on it and I want to get the feedback from our viewers as well and see what they think of it. Now after we made that last video there was a few questions that was asked, so I'm going to just answer them really quickly. So I was asked, are the blades adjustable? They're not. They are removable and you can sharpen them yourself, but they are not adjustable. The reason being is because there's such a small clearance between them two blades when they come together, and if you adjusted them wrong, you could either have a clatter where they'd meet or they'd be too gapped apart, and that mean you wouldn't get a clean cut. So they left them that they're non-adjustable. I can't see why you would have to adjust them anyway. The next thing is the length that they come out the far side at. Is that adjustable? Yes and no. You can adjust it on the blades or on the machine itself, but you can slightly adjust it by increasing the revs on your machine. As is taking the feed of the timber going through it, if you have your revs higher, it will pull the timber in quicker and it will leave the length slightly longer. Another thing I was asked is what revs do you run it at? Well, I'm running this at about 400 revs per minute on the shaft. You don't have to run it at the full 540. But one thing I did notice is if you're running lats through it, we had some really small bits of lats down there, like 2B1s. If you're running them through it, maybe cut your revs down, because what it'll do, because they're so light, it will fire it right out the back. And it'll nearly go out about 2 foot out the back when it comes out. Maybe when you're cutting real light stuff like that, just knock your revs back slightly if you find that problem's there. Others did mention that they had some of these that came with a shear bolt, so if something ever happened or jammed, the shear bolt would shear quite often. But this one here, the new version, has a slip clutch, so God forbid anything does jam in it, which it will jam. You'll find you'll jam it eventually, it's inevitable. You can hit this guy over here by pushing this lever here. It will engage that little servo and that will cut off the PTO, knock the PTO off, and that'll shut the whole thing down. Hopefully that answers them questions. Another person said, is it not dangerous? They could throw stuff back out at you. Well, all these machines are dangerous. You don't want to be getting your clothes caught. You don't want to wear baggy clothes. You don't want to really get your hands in past this point here at all. You just fire the timber at it and don't be holding the stuff and pushing it through. Just throw it at it. If you are interested and you like the look of this machine, you want to find out any more about it, there is the company in Ireland that does it. So Clontrack Limited, Clonmel in County Tipperary, their number and all is there if you want to go and contact them. I'll put a link in because they sent it out to me. I can check these things out more if that's something you're interested in. Now these come with a conveyor as well, which will fill a trailer on the side. It all attaches as one system and it folds up. I don't have it with this one, but you can get it. But for today, rather than maybe having to handball it twice, I'm just going to try put the bucket underneath here and work it from that. So we've no PTO, that must mean that that switch over there is already tripped, so we'll have to untrip it and then start again. Here. And away she goes. That's a big decent bit there. Here's a piece here with a big knot and everything in the middle of it. Now this will probably test it. Alright, so there you have it. We just fired a lot of stuff through it there, and I run that for about 5 minutes. And that's without exaggerating. We run it for 5 minutes there and it filled that, and I wasn't even trying to feed it too quickly. Imagine if you had 2 people here firing that stuff in. It seems to eat it as quick as you can throw it into it. You know, some stuff it cuts really, really clean. Other stuff, it might chop it in half, but that stuff's really, really dry. But most of the stuff, 90% of the stuff, has got a lovely clean cut on it, just like that there. And that's just a perfect length for going into the stove we have. Around about 6-7 inches is that stuff. I've got the box in the back of the tractor. I'm just going to turn the tractor around, fill the box, dump it, come back and finish this whole pile of sticks. Now, we're over on the other farm here, and you can see a lovely pile of bushes here behind me. We have 2 big giant piles like this. You can see from all the trees that we've cut up, like here behind me, for instance. But I was told by the guys that supply this machine, why not throw some of your bushes to it? That's what it's for. It can do kindling as well as just chopping up timber. This thing came with a set of chutes that attach onto the end that you can put bags onto if you want to fill bags on either side, if you want to sell them or store them for your house just for lighting the fire. So stuff like this here, small brittle branches, no problem. Fire them through it, it'll smash them up, and it's an equally good way of getting rid of them too, rather than having them piled like this. It'll certainly decrease the volume of stuff. It wasn't my intentions to use it for that. I probably would have went for a shredder, but I've never used it for it. So we're going to give it a go and see what it does. Alright, a bit of a struggle trying to pull them branches out. If I had it probably went from the upper side, it'd probably work better, because that's where I pushed it all over from, but it works. It does pull in the branches. Nothing's getting really jammed on it. When it gets a grip of it, it does pull them in. You just probably want to have a wee saw with you if you have anything that's too wide or too branched out, just to take an odd limb off it to let it through. But it does definitely smash them up. Different lengths, all depends. But for kindling, that stuff would burn like mad. It still leaves you with a pile, but the pile is smaller. It doesn't beat a mulcher that will mulch it into dust. It doesn't compete with that, but it's not for that. It's for just making kindling. Remember, this is a chopping machine, not a mulcher. Bear in mind, I put ivy through that, which isn't very easy for it to chop because it's very fine. When I mean fine, I mean this type of stuff here, like, you know, it has to grab very thin stuff like that, and it's not going to just maybe catch that stuff, hence the reason you have longer branches throughout that. But anything that's smaller, like this stuff here, no problem, it catches it. But anyway, I'm going to tip home and finish off the logs at home and get that job completed first, and then we can come back here and we can chop away for another bit and see how this turns out. But for the moral of making this video, I think you've seen everything that needs to be seen. You can cast your opinion on it. I only give my own. It's a very impressive machine. Big thanks again to Clontrack Limited and Clonmel and Tipperary, and for Remtech CNC for sending it out to us. That is the RP200. After about 20 minutes of work, we have a nice pile of stuff there now. So we're going to throw a cover across it because it looks like it's getting ready to team rain, and then we'll come out after and we'll throw it into this house. There's the wind just picking up now as we speak. We're going to go ahead and get this done, and then we'll go and start something else. Talk to you next time.